Good evening and welcome to Mahogany Facebook Live. I'm Creative Director Oliver Prestage. I'm going to be your compere this evening. We've got UK Creative Director Anthony LaCarter, who's doing this beautiful, short, contemporary, cool haircut. But before we move to that, let me introduce the team behind the scenes. So we have International Creative Director Colin Graney, filming Facebook. We have Joseph McClements, Creative Director, filming the Instagram. And then we have our talented stylist, photographer, Jodie Mills, as well. So, let's move on to the cool little contemporary haircut that Anthony's been doing. So, Anthony.
Right, good evening everybody, how you doing? Hope you're all well. This is my wonderful model Neely. And obviously in the interest of time, we'll just talk about what we've done to start with. So what we're trying to do is just create a nice, short, contemporary shape. So what we've done is worked in nice and flat and nice and square to keep the shape and the very sort of hugging the contours of the head shape. As we come round to this side, you can see that I start to build up a corner just at the sort of where the muscle of the neck is. You can just see where the weight line sort of drops down a little bit. That's to just keep that little bit of shape there. And then we come up again and then we come down again. Okay, so we literally, once we get to the muscle, we're pulling straight out from each section. Once we get to the muscle, we're going that way. Then I came round over the ear and worked that way and pulled that way, and then we create this corner there. Okay, so on this side, it's going to be slightly heavier. So from the ear, I've pulled back to create more weight, so it's a slightly more fitted shape. And as we come round this side, which I've already started cutting, we're actually coming in quite tight. We're lifting the hair up. We don't want to build any weight whatsoever. I'll wrap dry it very quickly, and then we'll scissor over comb that away. So the idea, when we have this internal length in the top falling over, we're going to dress it, exposing the shorter side, but obviously Neely can wear it the other way as well. So I'm just going to finish off taking this hair away here. So again, working very clean. I'm lifting from the underneath. So that stops me from sort of pulling and creating weight. I find if I pull down, sometimes you're liable to start building up weight. Whereas if you comb from the underneath, it becomes almost second nature to your body and your fingers to sort of lift the hair, which keeps the shape nice and flat.
Aviv says hello from Israel.
Hi Aviv.
How you doing? Thank you for tuning in.
Again, these Facebook Lives that we do, keep them very interactive, so do lots of welcoming questions, do comment, and lots and lots of questions, guys, if you can. So it sounds quite technical, Anthony. Is this something you would do maybe in the salon, sort of removing bulk and flattening down areas?
Yeah,
something you do on a client?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is now, these days, I mean, maybe 15 years ago, the idea of having the hair shorter on the underneath, if we want to use the word undercut, which was the word that scared everybody, I mean, that was thought of as a really sort of contemporary, almost scary technique. But now, to me, it's one of the classics. I mean, if somebody comes in and they've got thick hair and it just won't lie flat and narrow, then this is a technique we use a lot. Obviously, it might not be as short as this. You could have the length here and you could be pulling the hair up so and cutting that way, so you create the length. So basically, this is just a very strong version because obviously we're doing something very contemporary. So I'll quickly dry. So I would work this way in the salon, yeah. I personally, and at Mahogany, I would never sort of scissor over comb on wet hair. I don't believe you can really see what you're doing. So the main thing, what are the things when I'm teaching scissor over comb? The main thing is just keep the comb moving. I mean, that is the main thing. As long as you're keeping the comb moving, you're not going to create any sort of weight lines. So even if you're not taking a lot off, as you can see, I'm not here, because the shape's actually sat in quite nicely just by cutting it through my fingers. I'm constantly just keeping the comb moving at all times. And I'm going right into the sort of like contour of the head, into the sort of roundness of the head. I'm not pulling away, I'm going right into it. So it really hugs the shape of the head on this side.
Abby Marie says, can't wait to see the finished look, Anthony. And also, just to warn you, Anthony, your mother-in-law is watching you.
Oh, okay.
Sounds great.
Hey, hi Anne. Hi Anne.
So you really work the shape in sort of technically with fingers and then refining scissor over comb.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Good. It's quite a sort of soft, gentle way of working, isn't it? I think.
It is. I mean, I think obviously, like any of these stronger shapes, it has to be tailored to the right person. Obviously, somebody like Neely, who models for us a lot and has quite strong shape. I mean, anybody that has yellow in her hair is obviously going to be the type of person that would wear this strength of haircut. But she's got very, very sort of very nice quality hair, so it's actually cropping really, really nicely, very, very easily, and sitting. I mean, this is going to be really the idea of the versatility of short hair. You know, you don't want it to be worn one way. So the idea for Neely is, if she's going out and she's partying a little bit, she can obviously wear it exposing the really short hair, and obviously where it's fitted on this side, if she wore it that way, she could get a much more classic effect. Right, so if I just pop your head forward, Neely, so you can see I've broken this down into 3 sections, mainly for control. It's quite a big section here, so I don't want to sort of attack it as one big section. So I'm gonna the focal point's going to be the fringe area. That's going to be my first section, and then I'm going to work back from there. So we're going to let down the first section, as you can see.
And there's quite a lot of hair here as well, isn't there? So
there is, yeah, surprisingly,
yeah.
yeah. You don't think it at the time, but there is. So, section down the middle.
That colour looks fantastic, which has been done by Tara Hunter Watts, if I've got her name correctly. She did just get married in the summertime. So Tara, if you can comment and put the formula down on Facebook, Instagram, that'd be fantastic later on.
So this is the important bit, this first piece here, because this will obviously be the length. As you can see, this is jumping around quite a lot. So I will keep it longer and then go into it after, just so that I'm in control rather than the hair being in control.
So you're just leaving that extra little bit.
Yes, and what I don't want to do is I don't want to pull it too far that way, because I don't want a corner there. So I want to actually pull it this way, straight up, because I don't want to have a corner.
So you're removing a little bit more weight?
Taking away a lot of weight, and we're going to pull into the previous section. So into the previous section.
So that's having a little bit more length towards the sides as well?
To begin with. I mean, the thing is I know from us using Neely before, I know that her hair does jump around at the front, so it's better to sort of give yourself the control by basically leaving it a little bit longer. So what I'm wary of, which is okay there actually, is just that little bit there, it's just lifting. What we'll do is when we've dried it, I can then come in freehand and take that away a bit more. But that's going to be fine for now. So I'm going to take the second section. Okay. So again. And what's really great about these types of hair is when you start taking the weight out, the colour really starts to sort of like come through. Yeah, it really starts to come through. So this section is going to be pulled slightly forward because I want to have a corner on the crown. Okay, so I'm going to pull this section slightly forward. And again, going into the previous section. And this is very, very sort of disciplined.
You're working very small sections.
Very small sections to stay in control constantly. Because as I said, Neely's got a lot of hair. It's actually fine in texture, but there's a lot of it. So I want to be in control of it rather than it being in control of me. So again, now we start to see
Beautiful, really beautiful.
the colour starts to pop. We start to get the bits that overhanging that give us the possibilities. I'm not really sure how long I'm going to keep those bits, but that gives us the possibilities. So I will swing round and we'll do the other side. Do you like that, guys? Is that better? Yep. So again, nice clean sections, straight up. I mean, it's so important to sort of understand the classics of a haircut, because in essence, most contemporary shapes are a combination of classic techniques. You know, here I've started cutting this finger width round grad all the way through, and then square on this side, and then horizontal, and they're all classic techniques that you sort of mishmash together. Right, so as we come onto the crown, what I want to do is use this.
So using that as a guide.
As a guide, yeah. And I'm pulling this way because, again, I do want to have some hair overhanging, so I've got some balance in the whole thing. How much, I'm not sure, but I do want to have an option there. Okay, and again, into the previous section. Everything's into the previous section. Once we come to refine, if we think anything is too heavy, that's not a problem. Again, you want to always, obviously it makes sense, but it's always better to have hair to cut off than then think, oh, if only I'd have left that little bit of length there. Right, so if I can just get that hairdryer ready, Ollie, this will be a very, very quick wrap dry. So the main thing is I'm not trying to lift the hair in any way. So I'm just pushing the hair in both directions. And it's just stretching the hair a little bit. But in essence, what you're doing is you're trying to let the hair cut through the work.
You're keeping the shape quite flat.
Yeah, flattish, yeah.
That colour looks fantastic, doesn't it?
Yeah, beautiful colour by Tara.
So you talked about sort of suitability, Anthony, and sort of working with Tara. Did you choose the colours and work with the colour placement wise, what you're going to do with the hair?
Yeah, well at Mahogany we all do basic training in cutting and colouring up to about 18 months. And then at 18 months we basically make a decision with the educators, and normally it's a decision that's made organically. It's normally something that you enjoy that little bit more. You enjoy colouring a little bit more, or you just enjoy cutting a bit more. So it's more of a discussion, and then you start to sort of specialise in one or the other. So what you do when you do a haircut like this is you, at the consultation stage, you sit together and you have to plan microscopically where you want the colours to be so that it works. So yeah, Tara and I had a long conversation about where I wanted the colour. One, obviously so I didn't cut it out, and two, what was going to be the focal points of the haircut.
Sounds great, really good.
So we talk about fluidity a lot. And so what we're trying to do, if you just look on this side, this is, let's call this the longer side. What we're trying to do is have a situation that when that falls down, you can't actually tell that that's actually quite a lot shorter on the underneath. So if you look at that straight on, that is literally, you know, 2 or 3 inches longer. But the idea is as it falls, you want that to look like it's fitted and there's no disconnection whatsoever. So that's what you're visually looking at when you start sort of like, I mean, if I'd seen a weight line or it looking a bit heavy, then I would go in there quite heavily with point cutting, but that doesn't need too much on that side. It needs a little bit, but not too much. On this side, you see, this is the side I want to expose. But obviously, if it comes over and she wants to wear it that way, which looks great as well, yeah? Again, it's blending in, it's not jumping out or going, as I would call it, sort of mushroomy, sort of like lifting out, not doing anything like that, you know, which again leads me to believe that the basic bulk is actually really, really good. It just needs a little bit of refining. The main part here now is going to be the fringe. This is our focal point, so this is where we're going to take most of the hair off. So I'm probably just going to use the irons. Now again, I don't want to use the irons to over straighten the hair. It's literally just to give it a little bit of finish. So when I actually hold the irons on it, I'm hardly touching it at all. Hardly touching it at all. Yeah. I think sometimes it's a shame where you put in lots of lovely texture into the hair, and then if you over straighten it, you can't actually see the texture anymore, which is a bit of a shame. So again, I mean, Neely really wouldn't even feel what I'm doing with it. She wouldn't feel it would be so gentle. So that's what we're trying to do. So it's just a little bit of finish.
So it's very puristic, Anthony. It's sort of really sticking to the ethos of mahogany here with technique and shape and all that.
Yeah, I think the thing is we've always believed that whether it's a commercial haircut, whether it's a contemporary haircut, in essence, the haircut does the work. In essence, the haircut does the work. I mean, if you're doing a show, of course, there's a tiny bit of dressing here and there, but in essence, the haircut's doing the work. And even at this level, I mean, Neely's not going to be the type of person that wants something that's going to be high maintenance at all. So, you know, we want to do something that is very, very straightforward, very simple for her. Okay, just swap sides.
Louise Ballinger said, beautiful colour and lovely sharp cut.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Louise.
Tara has texted me the colour, but it's obviously I'm filming on my phone. So Tara, if you're watching, could you just put the colour so people can see it come up on the screen?
Thank you, Tara. Technology these days, fantastic. Talking about technology, you can watch a lot of videos on our streaming website, so that's mahogany.co.uk. Click on education, click on streaming. Lots of interesting sort of shapes, colours on there that you can download for as little as £3, which is a bargain really, just to see education. Things like this, what Anthony's doing at the moment, and more classic techniques as well. So you have your foundations on there, which is a really great little thing we have.
Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to hold the hair very, very slightly, okay? That just stops the hair from jumping around, but I do want to take quite big, I'm going to take this quite a bit shorter. There's going to be some quite large sort of V sections taken out. But that just controls me, first of all. So,
Anthony, could I just interrupt?
Yes.
Because Tara's just said base colour pre-lightened with L'Oreal 9 level bleach and 20 vol. Okay, I think I'm waiting for more to come in, so you can crack on now.
So just holding this in place, and then we're going to take these. And it's quite annoying for the model, I can tell you, because it's all falling in her face, but she's being a total pro.
Makeup artist's worst nightmare. Lots
Absolutely.
of hair on the face.
We got a... Okay, thank you, Neely, for being great there.
Toned Deer Light Tube 9.13 plus 2 centimetre 6.66 9 vol panels, 2 parts yellow plus 1 part coral, 2 slices in an L shape. Woo!
Beautiful, Tara. Thank you so much.
Tara-
Very detailed colour.
I hope I read
Formula.
that okay, Tara.
Right, so then we're going to come round, and I'm just going to... So I'm just holding the hair up. There's my line there. I'm just going to continue.
So this is really detailing,
This is
visual and...
Yeah, I'm basically now working, nothing now is right or wrong here. If you were doing this, Ollie, and you decided to leave that longer, that would be up to you. If you thought that should come, that would be up to you. So this all becomes like just a personal signature now. Again, you can see I'm letting the hair do the work. I'm not really pulling it too much, holding it out too much. Just hold that for me. Now we've got to be a little bit careful on this side because we don't want to really go into that too much because that's the weight on the side. The idea is to go to the same length each time. That's what I'm trying to do. It's the length of the blade, so all the short bits are the same, which even though you're creating texture, you've got some balance to the whole thing, rather than just sort of flying in.
Very controlled. They look very sharp, those scissors, Anthony.
Yes, I'd like to thank Wings for my scissors, even though I paid for them, Wings. They're fantastic scissors.
I think we've all invested in a
Yes,
pair
we have,
of wings,
yes.
haven't we? They're fantastic.
And this bit here, this is just opening up the eyes. You know, as you turn your head there, what are the important bits? You know, definitely cheekbones, opening the eyes, those sort of areas. I mean, there was a good 2 inches there of hair, and just sort of comb it forward, let it fall in its natural lie, and then visually you're just taking that hair that's... Technically, it wouldn't be wrong if you left it there, but it's actually not doing anything but hinder the final shape.
Another question for Tara. Julie Kearns asks, what's the model's natural colour? So Tara, if you're still watching...
Well, I suppose if we look at the eyebrows...
Yes, that's a good...
If we look at the eyebrows, I mean, the thing is with Neely is she generally has bleach, and then what she tends to do is then play around with whether it goes corally or whether it goes blue or whether it goes green or that sort of thing. But generally, she toys with the tone of her hair. But again, you've got to be a certain type of person to have that sort of confidence. Right, so now we're just cross-checking. Again, if you look at my detail, they're all similar length. Rather than just doing that, got a clip, sorry.
So why are you using a clip, Anthony?
Because what I find, obviously, with the hair, the crown, it will jump in the way otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, again, it's just about control.
So each section
working
individually.
through. Absolutely.
Fantastic.
So you can see there is the line I cut. And again, and I think it's also important sometimes for the client who sees you doing it that you're in control. Sometimes I feel, you know, everyone gets a bit busy, and you've got to understand, for the client watching, it's quite a tough thing to watch, somebody sort of tearing into their hair. So having a little bit more control psychologically is, wherever possible, is a good thing to do.
So the haircut, Anthony, have you used any sort of inspiration from our latest collections or anything for Neely's hair?
Yeah, I mean, basically, all our collections are, as I said before, really based on strong technique. What Mahogany, our sort of SP is that we're in essence selling discipline and technique. The idea is that you can take most, maybe not all, but most of the sectioning patterns that we produce for our collections, and you can commercialize them. So for example, with this haircut, if this was in the salon and that underneath was maybe the lobe length and maybe that length, and this top was hanging over to the jaw, you've got a very, very commercial haircut. And I wouldn't say that with every, but 95% of our haircuts you can actually commercialise. Obviously, every now and again we go a bit avant-garde and it's a one-off, and it might be really strong colours, and it might be cropped on one side or whatever. But generally, we are selling techniques, something that you can commercialise and use in the salon. Because particularly at the moment, with the situation with the commerciality and what's going on worldwide, let alone in this country, you know, being commercial has never been more important, really. It's the little techniques that get people to come into your salon, you know. What makes you different from the salon down the road? That's what you need to be thinking the whole time.
Louise Ballinger said, some good inspiration for my next visit. And Kelly Chelsea Hedges says, lovely colour, Tara.
Thank you guys, thanks for your comments. Always welcome, thank you.
So as you can see, obviously if you wear it the short side more exposed, it becomes more contemporary. And obviously if you decide to wear it this way, it becomes a little bit softer with that side. So she can decide depending on how she's feeling that night. Right, so working the product through now. So what I like to do is get the hair on end first, so it's nice and even, and then work it through from this stage, so all the hair's got some product on it.
Looks amazing, Anthony. Really cool shape. Very sort of relevant to sort of creative work and classic. You can definitely use these techniques in the salon.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I mean, I think again, it's strong. And again, if we just sort of wear it exposing that side, you can see the difference in the sort of strength of that. But obviously, if we go the other way as well,
it's definitely that suitability. I think Neely can really,
she can
really
do
wear
it, can't she?
Yeah,
she can carry it off.
Very cool.
So again, if you go that way, then you cover up that sort of very short hair. But I prefer it that way. So let's go this way for tonight, shall we? Bit of hairspray for the crown. So if we just stand up and just recap what's going on here. Just take this off for you, Neely. Right, if you turn round. Right, so what happened is, just go back a little bit, come forward this way so we get in the light. Is that okay for light, guys? Yeah. So, what I did first of all is I came in this way, narrowed down the head, worked around the head, pulling straight out, all the way round to the back of the ear. On this side, we got to the muscle in the neck, and then from here I started to pull into the previous section. So that on the underneath here, this was pulled back, so you got a little bit more of a fitted shape, a little bit more hair there, a little bit more shape there. So there's definitely more hair on this side. So when you look at it, it's definitely heavier on this side, yeah? Then when we came around this side, as you saw me, I worked in this way, lifting the hair up, into the sort of contour of the head, into the roundness of the head, not building any weight up whatsoever, so it's nice and flat. Okay? Then we worked through the fringe. I left that quite a lot longer because it does jump. No corners, so it's straight up, straight across, and then pulled over the crown so we get that little bit of length from the crown. And then the dressing, as I said, is all dependent on what you're feeling like on the day.
Looks stunning. Really, really stunning.
So she can obviously tuck that a little bit behind the head as well. Okay, right. Thank you, Ollie. Just hit this with you here.
Game job.
Stand forward a little.
That's good.
Oh, back.
All in together, guys.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you for tuning in. And basically, look out again for another 6 or 8 weeks. We'll be doing another one of these. And we'll put some pictures up of the finished result on the Facebook page and Instagram feed in the next half an hour or so. Thanks very much.
Thank you.